John Cola with DiscountJuicers.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you. As you guys can see, we have 6 different vacuum blending solutions here today. And what we're going to do in this episode is we're going to go ahead and show you guys for the first time ever which one of these vacuum blenders suck more. No, it doesn't mean they're bad. It means how much vacuum does each one of these vacuum pumps suck. So here's the thing with vacuum blenders. The more the vacuum blender sucks out the excess air, the more oxygen is removed during the blending process, which means you're going to have less dissolved oxygen and more nutrition in all your different blends, whether you're making vacuum blended smoothies, vacuum blended juices that I have videos explaining how to do, vacuum blended salad dressings, vacuum blended soups, vacuum blended nut butters as I've recently made. I believe oxygen removal is paramount, and I want you guys always to have a vacuum blender that removes a significant amount of oxygen. These are some of the more high-end models that I recommend that are on the market at this time. I'm not testing like the cheap, inexpensive models because those models will not nearly pull as much oxygen out of the carafe before blending. So in any case, let's go ahead and clear most of these off the table, and we're going to go ahead and sit down with you and show you guys how I could test this, why I'm testing this, and the gauge that I'll be using to test all these vacuum blenders to see how much they suck. So first off, I'll be testing the Dynapro vacuum blender on how much the pump can suck. That being said, what I want to tell you guys straight up is that this is going to be a vacuum test only, right? Vacuum and how much vacuum does the vacuum blender pull should be one consideration of many considerations that you take into consideration before buying a vacuum blender. Of course, the vacuum that it pulls is one significant factor that should play in to your decision. Until now, I haven't been able to test those. Another factor that should play into your decision is the cost of the vacuum blender. Another factor that should go into the consideration is if you're going to do vacuum juicing or not. That's going to determine if you want a fatter and wider carafe such as the Dynapro, which I've determined to be the best vacuum blender on the market at this time for vacuum juicing. Link down below to my anti-oxidation green juice. Of course, another factor that may be important for many of you are how well do the blades and does it grind up into like the finest particle size, right? Every different blender may grind better or worse depending on its design. I do discuss this and do comparisons when I compare different vacuum blenders against each other and run them through a sieve so you guys can see what is blended and what isn't. A really good summary of all the vacuum blenders that are currently on the market that'll prevent bloating due to the oxygen in the juice as well as increase your nutrition. Link down below to that. So the only reason why I'm able to make this video today and was not previously is because I was finally given a vacuum gauge rig setup, right? I had bought vacuum gauges and tried to piece together my own thing, but I was not successful previously. But now I have a vacuum rig thanks to the Pure Juicer company, who are now making their Pure Juicer vacuum pump that is the easiest pump to use and more importantly pulls the most vacuum of any vacuum pump, electric or manual, that I've tested. It is also the most durable and gonna last you guys a long time. So yeah, they came out with this rig here so you could actually test the vacuum that we pull on it. So this is gonna give you an idea, if we compare all vacuum blenders to this hand pump, how much this pulls compared to the vacuum blenders. And look at this. The cool thing about this pump, you're just going to hold it down and you just pull this up and it's really easy to pump. I mean, some of the vacuum pumps that I've pumped before like really are resistant. This is really not that resistant. And I mean, it was already 4 or 5 pumps and I'm already maxing it out. And I mean, if I pump more, we can't even get higher. So I think like basically if you do 8 pumps, which are not really difficult, you're going to have maximum vacuum pressure on the gauge, which in this case is reading at approximately 26.5 inches of mercury. Another way to express that is maybe like, I don't know, 80% oxygen removal. I'm not really good on the comparison, so I just use like the inches of mercury. So why Pure designed their pump so that you can store your juices or other foods under vacuum in mason jars. So we have a little small mason jar here, has a Pure logo on it. And you know, Pure had found out, as I had found out, that the mason jar lids that come with mason jars are very thin. They bend and they could be problematic when pulling this much vacuum. In addition, I found that the seals, the little red seals on them, wear out. So if you vacuum them under a strong vacuum for maybe like 6 to 10 times, at that point the gasket wears out and then it's no longer going to seal. So that's why they came up with their own lids that say Pure on it that are 4 times thicker and 100% stainless steel with silicone gaskets that aren't going to wear out over time. So you could put these on a wide mouth mason jar, and then you're going to use their lid adapter to put it on top. And then you could use their pump, which basically just goes right into the lid adapter. You don't need to press it down or anything. Then all you simply do is pump it up. And it's just super simple. I mean, I could pump this with one finger. This is one of the easiest pumps. I know I've made it look hard before, and yes, some of those Chinese pumps that are inexpensive make it hard, but this pump, due to the special design and engineering and the relief valves, make it very easy to pump. And now we've achieved maximum vacuum pressure to secure the lid down and store our juices or dried goods or salads or pre-prepared, you know, cooked foods under vacuum. Now this is not a substitute for canning. The food that you put in here should, if it's perishable, should still be refrigerated. So because we put a strong vacuum on here, it may be difficult for people to just pull these lids off because there's no real place to grab. So then they also include a special lid removal tool that you can kind of just get underneath here, wedge up, and then just pull it up. And because this lid is so thick, 4 times thicker, it's not going to bend. Anyways, if you guys want to learn more about the Pure pump and the setup you could get, I'll put a link down below. You guys can see our gauge is still stuck at 26.5. How this gauge works, it literally pulls vacuum on a little chamber and it has a little plug here so you could release the vacuum. We're going to go ahead and release the vacuum. Let the air back in. The vacuum gauge will reset. So how this works, it's going to make it really easy to test the vacuum on the different pumps. So for example, the Dynapro pump has a separate pump. You press the button, it comes on, it basically sucks the excess oxygen out of the carafe. So to test this unit, we just literally put it on the top, press the button, and you're going to see the vacuum gauge rise right up. It actually rised up fairly quickly, and then at a certain point it basically stopped. So we're going to take it off and put it back on and see if we could pump any further. So then it maxes out. So of course this pumped up really quickly because there's less volume in there. This also tells me that this is a smart pump and it actually detects the vacuum pressure and will turn off at a preset pressure, which in this case is, I'm going to say, pulls 21 inches of mercury for the Dynapro. So that is not too shabby. I recommend a good quality vacuum blender should at least pull 20. So this pulls 21. All right, so while you guys did just see that the Tribez Dynapro pump pulled 21 inches of mercury, if you guys want to max that out, actually, the cool thing is when you guys use an external vacuum pump on a vacuum blender, you don't need to use the pump that came with it, actually. So literally we could take the Dynapro, we could take that Pure pump that you guys saw pulled 26.5 inches of mercury, we could basically seal that around the top. It actually fits pretty nicely. And then we could just pump this up. Now you're going to have to sit here and pump this a lot. So maybe you would want to let this vacuum pump down to 21. And then you're going to pump a whole bunch of additional times to get it down to 26. And then when you're removing or displacing that much air, you will feel some back pressure on this pump. But because this pump is designed optimally with good gaskets and a relief valve, it just really pumps very simply and easily. Of course, this is also made out of aluminum, and it's pretty much not going to break on you. All right, so as you guys can see, we pumped it up a lot, and I want to let you guys hear the air rush back in, and the air rushes back in. So yeah, I mean, on some levels, I like the vacuum blenders that have external pumps because you're not necessarily forced to use the pump that it came with. That being said, a lot of the pumps that the vacuum blenders come with when they're external tend to be a fair bit slower and takes longer to evacuate all the excess oxygen out of the carafe. So the next thing I wanted to mention real quick is that my name is John Kohler, and I started my website and company discountjuicers.com over 25 years ago now to save you guys the most money on juicers as well as blenders, vacuum blenders, and other appliances that allow you to eat more fresh fruits and vegetables and other plant foods. So if you're looking to buy any of these products today, I'll put links down below so you guys could get the lowest price on any of these products. If you guys want to buy the TriBest Dynapro or the TriBest Glass Personal Vacuum Blender, which uses the same pump, so it's actually going to pump out the same amount of oxygen. That being said, the Personal Glass Vacuum Blender, the motor is underpowered in my personal opinion. That being said, I do like the Dynapro. It has definitely sufficient power for me. You guys can go to the website tribest.com/DJ10 to save 10% off the purchase of your Dynapro. The next vacuum blender I'll be testing is no longer available. I had a relationship with the Biochef company that sold the Biochef vacuum blender container and pump upgrade for your Vitamix. It's because I originally saw that their vacuum blender called the Living Foods vacuum blender, their carafe and pump happened to fit on a Vitamix, so I asked them, hey, can you guys sell that separately to my customers so that people could upgrade their Vitamix? And actually this was the first solution out so that people could vacuum blend in the Vitamix. It's no longer available. You may be able to find one used. That being said, I would highly discourage you guys from buying one because my relationship with Biochef went south. They claim they'd have a warranty on the carafe as well as the pump, a shorter warranty on the pump, longer warranty on the carafe. And I had many customers after Biochef kind of went out of business in the United States contact me for warranty support. I basically said, hey, contact Biochef. They're the ones offering the warranty. And basically Biochef would say, we don't have any inventory. We're not going to honor the warranty. And that to me is just BS. That being said, I know many of you guys did buy this, and I always like to know how good are the pumps. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and test the Biochef pump. Once again, no longer available. Now, on the Biochef pump, this is a shallow here, so it won't just fit on easily on my test rig. So we're going to actually have to use like an adapter thing I kind of put together based on some other vacuum blender parts I had. So basically what we're going to do is we basically, these just connect each other so we could have a vacuum. So we're just going to go ahead and put these two down, hold this together, and put the vacuum on and make a good seal. Alright, so I think that went to a maximum seal and it's stuck on there. We could press this lower button to release it, and we're just going to do it one more time to make sure we have a maximum vacuum. Alright, so we have a maximum vacuum on that, and now let's go ahead and read our gauge. So the Biochef pump pulled, not too shabby here. Looks like we got 22. So, you know, 22 inches of mercury is not too shabby. Definitely better than the Dynapro. And let's see on this vacuum blender, if you guys got the pure pump, would you be able to use it? Yes, you would, and you'll be able to pull it up to 26.5 if you did buy this accessory pump. So you might want to run this on the blender till it maxes out and shuts off. Then go ahead and put your pump on here and then hand pump it the rest of the way. I don't know, maybe 10 pumps until you feel good resistance. And then you know you have down to 26.5 inches of mercury or more oxygen evacuated out of the carafe before blending. And of course, we could let the oxygen back in and you could hear it air back in. All right. So that is a no longer available Biochef pump with the Biochef carafe that fits directly on a Vitamix. So the next solution I want to show you guys is actually the Vitamix vacuum blender solution that will work on all legacy or classic Vitamix models that are not the Ascent, that have the self-detect system on it. So you can see here we got a standard Vitamix Turbo Blend VS, but this will also work on most other Vitamixes. This is basically the Void Systems kit that comes with the carafe, the Void Systems vacuum lid as well as a pad. And this will allow you to convert your Vitamix into a vacuum blender using the Void Systems lid. It is an integrated pump system. It actually has dual pumps in there, so it pumps even faster than other vacuum blenders on the market, maybe except for one. This will, of course, work on any Vitamix. If you don't happen to have a Vitamix, you could actually buy the Void Systems blender kit, right? And this is only $100 more than your Vitamix conversion kit. That being said, the Void Systems vacuum blender has a shorter warranty, but they do use the same carafe, although the carafes are not identical. This one drops down a bit more, so this will not fit on a Vitamix, unfortunately. And then, of course, if you already own a Blendtec blender, my favorite way to use the Void kit is actually just to buy the Void Systems lid, because the lid will fit directly on any wild side or four side carafe, which is the standard carafe that comes with all Blendtec blenders. And so you use your carafe, you just replace the lid, and voila, you have a vacuum blender. All right, so because the pumps are built into these lids, we're gonna have to actually use my test rig to test them. And luckily I have 3 different lids. I have 2 standard lids, which are available to you right now. I'm currently beta testing a high pressure lid, so I wanna see how much more vacuum the high pressure lid pulls compared to the standard lids. All right, first up, let's go ahead and test the first Void lid. Every Void lid may pull hopefully a similar amount of vacuum. We're gonna find that out. And we're gonna have to use our adapter to basically get a good vacuum for our test rig here. So we're gonna go ahead and turn this on and put it in the Vac Plus mode. Press the go, and we're gonna go ahead and seal this down and push this down so we make a nice tight seal. And you guys can see the vacuum gauge rising. It's up and up and up. And it looks like we're pretty much maxed out at this point. I don't think it's moving any further. So let's go ahead and read it. All right, so to me, this looks like we're basically at 21 inches of mercury. That's quite respectable. That's also what the Dynapro tested out at as well. So let's go ahead and test Void lid number 2. This is a little bit more of a dull plastic. Let's go ahead and get our test rig set up, turn this pump on, and get it connected. All right, it looks like we've maxed out the pump, and this one also looks like we're at, I'd say that's 20.75, so not quite 21, but pretty doggone close. 21.75, just below 21. All right, last up, let's go ahead and check out the Void high pressure lid. This lid I'm currently beta testing for them. Not currently available. It will cost $100 more, so we'll learn if it's like worthwhile to get the high pressure lid instead of the standard lid. How much more can it really pump out, all right? So let's go ahead and turn this on, get our test rig set up there, and turn the pump on. All right, the high pressure lid is maxed out, and let's take a look at what it says. Uber impressive. It's actually at 24, so this is the most vacuum of any vacuum blender I've tested so far. So Void Systems HP lid, 24 inches of mercury. So if you guys want to get the Void lid that'll fit on your Blendtec, the Void Systems blender unit complete, or the upgrade kit for all classic and legacy Vitamix models, you guys want to make sure you guys use the coupon code DJ25 at void-system.com. Next up, we're going to test the Kuvings SV500 Quiet Vacuum Blender with sound enclosure. Because this has a built-in vacuum pump into the base, I'm going to have to basically kind of use my test rig with just like the hose and put the hose in to like the little area where it sucks vacuum, because the vacuum kind of comes up this chamber to the top. So we're just going to go ahead and put this in here. Hopefully we could get a good seal. And we're going to go ahead and get this guy turned on and get it in the vacuum mode and get our gauge lined up. And then press the button on. Alright, we got movement on the gauge, and for this vacuum blender, the blender actually starts up before it completely vacuums out. Alright, this one's reading out at 24 inches of mercury for the Kuvings. Impressive amount of vacuum. This ties for the most amount of vacuum pulled Kuvings SV500 24 inches of mercury. That being said, this machine only has a 1-year warranty on it, and they did shorten that from when it was originally released. And also, of course, the carafe on this unit is more of a personal size, in my opinion. Of course, it is also quiet due to the sound enclosure. And if you guys want to buy this Kuvings model and get 10% off, make sure you guys use the coupon code DJ10 at kuvingsusa.com, link down below. All right, next up, we're going to go ahead and test the granddaddy of all vacuum blenders. This is the very one that actually I use in my personal kitchen for vacuum blending because I like it the most. It grinds the most effectively. The Carafe is not super large, which is some of the things I don't like, but I do like the blade design and the way it basically grinds things up. It like gets the perfect texture every single time in less time than other machines. Links down below to my video where I compare this against a high-end Vitamix model. That being said, I've always wondered how much vacuum does this pull, because it pulls vacuum really quickly with multiple pumps in the base that pulls vacuum faster than literally any other vacuum blending solution out there. So because this is all built in, we're gonna have to actually take off this little module here. There's a little spout thing there, so we're gonna have to see if I could basically kind of hold this on the spout to get the vacuum and then get it to read on the gauge as it's all going. So this is going to be very interesting. So we got to put the vacuum on, and then we got to get this all set up so we could measure the vacuum. Or they got to press the 1 button, and then I got to work on getting this gauge to be held in place. All right, I think we pulled sufficient vacuum, and the machine is erroring out because it detects if there's vacuum or not. And impressive. Wow, looks like we got to 25 inches of mercury, guys. Insane. This is the #1 vacuum blender for pulling the most out of vacuum on any vacuum blender I've tested to date. So if you guys want to buy the Kuvings CB1000 vacuum blender, make sure you guys use the coupon code DJ10 for a 10% off savings on the CB1000 that pulls the most vacuum, and it's the very machine I use at my home. Of course, I mean, this is a commercial machine, so if you have a juice bar or restaurant, this is the machine you're going to want to buy because it vacuums the fastest. It's fully automatic. It'll basically open the lid for you, drop the lid, vacuum, release the vacuum, so you don't have to. A lot of machines, you have to release the vacuum manually, then it can be hard to remove the lid. This lid's very easy to remove because everything is done automatically for you. This vacuum blender is the one you want to get if you're rich and just want the very best, because this is it. Once again, use that coupon code DJ10 to save 10% off the most powerful vacuum blender I've tested to date. So last up, we got the Nuwave Moxie, a vacuum blender that has been discontinued by Nuwave, but they're just selling out of the remaining inventory. Then they will not be getting them back again. That being said, they still will honor the 5-year warranty through the warranty expiration period. Nuwave decided to go with the traditional blending, not the vacuum blending, so all their new machines pretty much use the same carafe but don't have the vacuum feature, which I think is sad. So let's go ahead and test the vacuum on this. Because it once again is built in, we're gonna have to do some special finagling to get this to test. I think we're gonna have to put our adapter in here to kind of make it airtight somehow. And then we're gonna reset our gauge, turn the unit on, put it on vacuum only, and we're gonna have to press the start button, and I'm gonna have to get the gauge up there real quick. All right, I think that's pretty much it. Maybe we'll do one more cycle just to make sure we got maximum vacuum from the Nuwave. All right, that's pretty much it, man. Maximum vacuum on the Nuwave. Definitely not looking super good. We're about at 18.5. Maybe I'll do one more test to see if we get even a little bit higher. All right, no, we're still pretty much what I'm gonna say we're gonna round up to 19, because that time I got it up to 19, but it's definitely not even hitting 20. Now here's the cool thing about the Moxie. This also has, while it does have a separate vacuum unit, the way they designed it is that it basically locks the air in due to this valve that you use to open and close. So basically when it's on the red, that allows you to open it and removes the vacuum, so you could actually remove the lid very easily. One of the downsides of this machine is that this piece, unless you screwed in tightly, can drop down during blending, and then you'll blend plastic, which actually happened to me. You guys can see that. But anyways, what happens is you could put this lid on and then turn this little lever here off the red dot to the lock position, and then take your pure hand pump and then literally hand pump the vacuum out, right? And once again, you're gonna hand pump this, I don't know, maybe 10 times. And you could pump this, and you're basically gonna pump this down to 26 inches of mercury, because this is what the pump is able to pull. And I'm sure the Carafe can handle it, can hold it up, right? So we're gonna basically use this pump to basically get this Moxie to pump down even further than the built-in vacuum pump would. Once you do that, then you could go ahead and then set this up on your blender and just blend like normal, right? And then you're gonna take this off when you're done, and of course you could then release the vacuum, let it back in with this little lever, turn it to the red dot. You could hear all the air rush back in, and we basically effectively pull this down to 26.5 inches of mercury with the pure pump. So that actually beats every other vacuum blender out there. And I want to show this model because this is the lowest cost entry model for a complete vacuum blending system that I would recommend. You could find some other cheaper ones that have been discontinued out there, but if you just want to get your foot in the door, this is the least expensive model I would recommend that actually does perform quite well based on my testing and field testing feedback from friends that I have. If you guys want to buy the Moxie, make sure you guys use my Amazon link down below. And when you use the Amazon link or any of the links or coupon codes previously mentioned in this video, the companies respectively will share with me a small commission, so I can continue to make these educational videos for you guys and go deeper and give you guys information that you're literally not going to hear anywhere else. So now we're going to declare the winner of the vacuum blenders on which one can suck literally the most air out of the Carafe. And the winner of a dedicated vacuum blender that could do the most is, and actually I'm kind of surprised because I didn't think it was going to win, is the Kuvings CB1000. I mean, just to boot, this thing has it all, guys. It pulls the most vacuum. It pulls vacuum the quickest. It blends the best. It's fully automatic. I guess the only downside is it's going to set you back a hunk of change. That pulled 25 inches of mercury. Impressive. Next up, which I didn't expect either at all, because this is probably the first vacuum blender that came out on the market in the United States. The Kuvings SV500 pulled 24 inches of mercury. Once again, that is quite impressive. Like, I expect 20, but as you get higher over 20, it gets excessively harder to pull that much more vacuum, right? And then, of course, third runner-up was actually the Void Systems HP lid that I am beta testing, not currently available. It pulled 24. It's going to be $100 more, hopefully available later this year, 2024. If you guys want to inch it up to 24, because the normal Void Systems lid pulled approximately 21. So this is 3 inches more of mercury. If you got the extra money, I would say spend it. If you don't have the extra money, hey, you're probably going to be good with the standard Void Systems kit at 21. Of course, after that, we got the Biochef, now defunct and not available. I am impressed that the Biochef pump pulled 21 inches of mercury. I was probably expecting like 20, but 22 is solid for sure. Next up, we had a tie of 21 at the standard Void Systems lid and the Dynapro vacuum blender at 21, which is definitely solid performance. That being said, on the Void Systems lid, I like that because it has dual pumps, so it pumps out the oxygen twice as quick, so you could blend that much sooner. Plus, of course, the Void Systems lids, unlike any other solution that I shared with you guys today, can continue to pump oxygen out during your blend if you want it to. Of course, you could also shut that feature off before you start blending if you would prefer. And of course, rounding out the bottom of the list, the vacuum that literally sucks the least oxygen out was the Nuwave Moxie at 19. So yeah, it's not quite hitting my goal of 20, but hey, 19 is still solid, and it is a well-performing blender based on my limited testing. All right, so that being said, like I showed on the Dynapro as well as the Moxie or even the Biochef, you can use an external pump like the Pure Pump and literally light speed your vacuum to like 26.5 if you use this pump with the Biochef, the Moxie, or the Dynapro by basically manually pumping out the excess oxygen before you blend. So like for those of you guys that are super hardcore, you're gonna actually want to get one of those vacuum blenders and then get this pump that will pull out the most oxygen the easiest, and also is not gonna fail you because this is solid metal right here. Really nice design on this pump. I'm so glad they came out with it. And of course you get the bonus besides the pump of being able to store juices in your mason jars with the pure vacuum pump as well as the whole kit that it comes with. So if you guys want to get any of these different vacuum blenders that I've shown today or the pure juicer pump kit, make sure you click the links down below. I'll pin it in the first comment. It'll also be in the description with all the links so you guys get the lowest prices to get the very equipment that I've tested in my videos and I have used in my house. And of course, to reiterate, the vacuum blender I choose to use in my house is the Kuvings CB1000. And basically all the juices I store now in my fridge get pumped out with the pure juicer pump that is not some chintzy Chinese thing that I was previously using. So I'm so glad that it's actually easier to pump and actually pumps out more oxygen as well. So if you guys enjoyed this episode learning about what vacuum blenders suck the most, hey, please be sure to give it a big thumbs up. More importantly, share this with other people that are hardcore into vacuum blending so that they too could blend with the least amount of oxygen mixed into their juices. If you're not familiar with what vacuum blending is, I really didn't discuss that, but I'll put some links down below to some of these different vacuum blenders that I've reviewed over the years where you could see and I explain the difference between vacuum blending or blending without oxygen and then blending just traditionally in an oxygen-rich environment. The differences are huge, especially if you're blending for health. Also, be sure to click that subscribe button right down below so you don't miss my new and upcoming episodes. I'm coming out every 5 to 7 days. You never know what new juicers I'll be unboxing, what new juicers I'll be comparing head-to-head, or what you'll be learning about vacuum blending or other juicing or blending knowledge bombs I'll be dropping on you to empower you as a customer to have the most information so you guys could make the best purchase decision for your specific needs. Also, make sure you click the little bell so you get notified as my new videos come out. And finally, be sure to check our past episodes. The past episodes are a wealth of knowledge. Over 800 episodes at this time on this YouTube channel. I'll post some links down below to some of the all these different vacuum blenders that I've reviewed individually and even compared some of them against each other so you guys can learn which one may be the best one for you. So with that, my name is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Be sure to visit DiscountJuicers.com/YouTube for special promotional offers for our YouTube visitors.